Jonathan Emord. He's a constitutional lawyer, and he wrote a book called The Authoritarians, The Assault on Individual Liberty, the Constitution, and Free Enterprise from the 19th Century to the Present. He wrote a great article in PJ Media, When the Cowardly Command the Courageous. Mr. Emord, how are you, sir?
Great. Good to be with you.
Grateful you're here. Let's define cowardly. Start there. Who are the cowards, but what is cowardice?
Cowardice is dishonor, dishonorable conduct. You would say that someone who was AWOL was dishonorable and lacked courage. You would say that someone who commanded individuals to engage in a dishonorable withdrawal or to abandon their fellows in the field was lacking in courage, because we have a certain moral precept that governs our behavior, and that is that we love our country. We ask of our soldiers that they honor their country by putting their lives on the line. And when they perform so ably in defense of our nation, the very minimum they are owed by their commanders is honor, defense of their honor. They ask nothing more. And so when Biden unilaterally withdrew all the forces, leaving behind Americans, our allies, and the special immigrant visa holders, he dishonored the troops. He dishonored them. And he's the commander-in-chief, after all, and must uphold their honor. But they view this as humiliating. When they have to abandon their mission in a hurry and cut and run, they view that as dishonorable. And it hurts them fundamentally, because they have been willing to die for their country. And the failure of the commander-in-chief to understand that, and the complicity of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Milley, and the CENTCOM commander, McKenzie, and Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, all of them were complicit. They understood, they knew well from their military career that they were asking troops to cut and run. They knew they were leaving their weapons in the field. They knew that they were heading out on a rapid basis, and that this would hurt them. They knew this. They knew that this would disgrace our country. It would disgrace our soldiers. So that is cowardly conduct. That is cowardice in the face of battle.
It's. I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Let me jump in. Sorry for the disconnection there, Mr. Emord. This may tie into your book, because you talk about Hegel, and maybe we could do a quick little recap on who he is. But I wonder, because I want to get to the root of where this dishonor comes from, or where the lack of honor, where the lack of even accountability that the American people have. Like, we don't even speak in these terms anymore, is what I'm trying to say. We don't even have this concept of honor that we can articulate clearly in our culture, and that's a big problem. So what are like the philosophical roots of that? Where have we gone astray? When did we lose these tools in our philosophy?
Well, when we became, it actually dates back to the 1830s, believe it or not, and the defense of the institution of slavery by Southerners, who adopted Hegelian thinking and socialism as an explanation for what slavery was. And they were quite right. Slavery is socialism. But when you reject our founding principles, like Biden has and like the Democrats have in Congress, and even the leadership in our military, they don't adhere to the foundational principles. They don't believe in individual liberty anymore. They're collectivists. And as a consequence, they don't have a problem with taking individual rights and taking individual reputations and burying them to achieve a quote-unquote collective good. Jake Sullivan, the president, engineered a withdrawal from Afghanistan for political purposes without regard to the military consequences or the overall consequences to our stature in the world. We are understood by the world, less so today than yesterday, and less so tomorrow probably than today, as a bastion of liberty and a courageous defender of liberty. But these individuals behave as if they are allies of the enemy. I mean, they're giving the Taliban $80 billion worth of military hardware, the most sophisticated in the world, and abandoning our own people. Well, that's not what a republic is all about. That's not George Washington's example of leadership. That's not what we did in World War II. That's not what we've done in Vietnam. When we evacuated Vietnam, we used more effort to extract our people and our resources and our weapons by far than what Biden has done here. He's abandoned everything.
So is the argument that they don't think in terms of honor because the collective is paramount, therefore individual honor it's not even a factor?
Right. Politics has prevailed over principle. If they actually loved our country, they would understand the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence and would believe in it. And they would believe that it defines what an American is, and they would regard being an American as an exceptional thing in the world, and that you must stand up for liberty and defend it. But they act more out of political expediency and have no regard for the consequences to our reputation as a defender of liberty and to our reputation as a bastion of liberty for the world. Who is going to trust us to defend liberty after this? What American soldier is going to go into battle not paranoid about whether or not his commanders are going to cause him to dishonor his country or even abandon him in the field?
Wow, that was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.